You have a fatal psychological disease, and that is quietly destroying everything you could ever become. It is not a lack of talent. It is not a lack of resources. It is the insidious, comforting, and deeply arrogant disease of later. You are currently living under the most dangerous delusion known to human existence, the absolute certainty that you own tomorrow. Take a devastatingly honest look at your life right now. You are constantly pushing the heaviest, most meaningful actions into an imaginary future. You tell yourself that you will start the business when the economy improves. You will begin the physical training when your schedule clears up. You will have that incredibly difficult, boundary-setting conversation with your family when the time feels right. You treat your finite, unrecoverable time on this planet like a billionaire treats pennies, tossing days and weeks into the gutter, operating under the arrogant assumption that your bank account of time is infinite. You are caught in a pathetic state of permanent preparation. You are organizing your desk, reading the books, planning the strategies, and waiting for the perfect moment to begin. But you are never actually living. You are residing in the waiting room of your own existence. And let me tell you the terrifying truth. One day, very soon, the receptionist is going to call your name, the door will close, and your time will be permanently up. If you are sick of living in the pathetic fantasy of tomorrow, if you are terrified of reaching the end of your life only to realize you spent the entire time preparing to live, and if you are ready to build the unshakable urgency of a sovereign mind, subscribe to Core Wisdom. We do not sell comfortable lies. We do not validate your endless delays. We provide the heavy, brutal, necessary truths of ancient philosophy to help you forge an unbreakable inner citadel. Subscribe now and let us kill the illusion of later. The word tomorrow is the ultimate graveyard of human potential. More empires have been lost, more masterpieces have been left unwritten, and more lives have been quietly wasted on the altar of tomorrow than by any actual failure or tragedy. We use the future as a psychological dumping ground for all the discipline, courage, and discomfort we are too cowardly to endure today. 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Seneca looked at the citizens of Rome and saw the exact same tragic comedy. He saw wealthy, capable individuals constantly delaying their happiness, their virtues, and their true ambitions until their old age. He wrote a blistering critique called On the Shortness of Life, delivering a strike directly to the human ego. Seneca wrote, "You live as if you were destined to live forever. No thought of your frailty ever enters your head. Of how much time has already gone by, you take no heed. You squander time as if you drew from a full and abundant supply, though all the while that day which you bestow on some person or thing is perhaps your last." Read those words and let them pierce your armor. You live as if you are destined to live forever. This is the core of your procrastination. You think your delay is just a harmless time management issue. It is not. Your procrastination is an act of supreme, breathtaking arrogance. Every time you say, "I will do the hard work tomorrow," you are actively negotiating with death. You are looking the grim reality of human mortality in the face and saying, "You will not touch me tonight. You owe me another sunrise." You are demanding an extension on a contract that you never signed and do not control. You have invented a magical, fictional character in your mind called your future self. You rely heavily on this character. You assume that your future self will magically possess the boundless energy, the ironclad discipline, and the fearless courage that you currently lack. When you hit snooze on the alarm, when you skip the deep work to scroll on a glowing screen, You are passing the burden on to this imaginary savior. But here is the brutal reality. Your future self is not a superhero. Your future self is just you. But they are an older, more tired version of you, carrying the massive, suffocating compound interest of your current cowardice. Every time you delay, you are not deferring the cost, you are actively increasing the weight that your future self will have to carry. You are betraying the only person who is forced to live with the consequences of your laziness. We tell ourselves another magnificent lie. I will do it when things settle down. You convince yourself that your current state of chaos, stress, and friction is just a temporary phase. You think that next month, or after this project, or after the holidays, the seas will magically part, the skies will clear, and you will finally have the perfect, uninterrupted peace required to focus on your true goals. This is a biological and structural impossibility. The friction of life never settles down. The emails will never stop. The unexpected emergencies will never cease. The demands of other people will never disappear. Chaos is the default state of the universe. Waiting for the perfect conditions to execute your duty is like a sailor waiting for the ocean to turn to glass before leaving the harbor. You will rot on the dock. The sovereign mind understands that the inner citadel is not built in times of perfect peace. It is forged directly inside the chaos. The discipline must be executed while you are tired, while the schedule is packed, and while the conditions are terrible. If you cannot execute your ambition in the middle of a storm, you do not actually possess ambition. You possess a fragile, useless wish. You must fundamentally change your relationship with time. You currently view time as a landscape that stretches infinitely in front of you. But Seneca offered a profoundly different perspective. He said that we are wrong when we look forward to death because the majority of death has already happened. Whatever years of your life have already passed belong to death. They are gone. You cannot buy them back, you cannot beg for them back, and you cannot bargain for a refund. The only thing you possess is the razor-thin, agonizingly brief sliver of the present moment. When you sit on the couch and waste 3 hours consuming mindless algorithmic garbage, you are not just killing time. You are literally letting the machine bleed you of your own life force. You are voluntarily accelerating your own journey to the grave without having anything of value to show for the trip. You must recognize the sheer disrespect you are showing to your own existence. If someone walked into your house and stole $5,000, you would call the police, you would rage, and you would demand justice. Yet the modern world steals thousands of hours of your irreplaceable, unrecoverable life, and you willingly hand it over with a blank stare and a swipe of your thumb. To break the spell of later, you must embrace the most terrifying and liberating truth of your existence. You must look directly into the abyss of your own mortality. The Stoics called this practice Memento Mori. Remember that you must die. Modern society treats death as a taboo, a polite fiction we ignore until it violently crashes through our front door. We hide it in hospitals, we disguise it with makeup, and we bury it under endless distractions. We live in a profound state of denial regarding our own biological expiration date. But the sovereign mind does not hide from death. It uses death as an aggressive daily tool for radical clarity. You must adopt the protocol of the death lens. Right now, your vision is completely clouded by the illusion of infinite time. You stress over minor inconveniences. You agonize over the opinions of anonymous strangers, and you hesitate to take massive action because you are terrified of looking foolish. You are playing a weak, defensive game because you think the clock is paused. Put on the death lens. Imagine, with brutal, visceral detail, a doctor looking you in the eye and telling you that you have exactly 6 months left on your biological clock. Suddenly, the psychological fog evaporates. The opinions of the crowd become completely, laughably meaningless. The fear of failure vanishes, because failure is just a temporary lesson, but the grave is a permanent silence. The death lens burns away everything that is not absolutely essential. You stop caring about being comfortable, and you start caring about being undeniable. You stop wasting your emotional energy on trivial arguments and start pouring your soul into the execution of your true duty. If a fear, an anxiety, or a distraction cannot survive the extreme heat of the death lens, it does not belong in your inner citadel. Once you have filtered your life through the death lens and identified what actually matters, you must execute the protocol of zero tomorrow inventory. In the world of business, holding excess inventory is a massive liability. It costs money, it takes up space, and it rots. In the architecture of your life, tomorrow is your warehouse for excess inventory. You take the heavy, difficult, uncomfortable actions, the brutal physical workout, the agonizing deep work session, the terrifyingly honest conversation, and you shove them into the dark warehouse of tomorrow. You tell yourself they are safe there. You must burn that warehouse to the ground. Zero tomorrow inventory means you treat every single day as a completely closed, airtight, uncompromising system. You do not get to roll over your duties to the next business day. When you wake up, you are handed a finite, unearned gift of 24 hours. Your sole, militant objective is to expend every single ounce of your required effort within those specific hours. You go to sleep completely empty. You do not leave a reserve of courage, discipline, or action in the tank for a tomorrow that is not guaranteed. If the action is required, it is executed today. Period. If you catch yourself saying, "I will do it tomorrow," you must translate that sentence into its true, pathetic meaning. I choose not to do it today because I am weak, and I am relying on a ghost of myself to do it for me later. You must build a visceral disgust for the word later. Later is where dreams go to quietly bleed out. Later is the battle cry of the defeated. But your ego will fight this protocol with everything it has. Your ego will immediately manufacture the ultimate, bulletproof alibi. I do not have the time. You will tell yourself that you are too busy, that your schedule is too packed, and that the demands of the modern world leave you with zero margin to execute your true ambitions. This is a mathematical lie, and deep down in your conscience, you know it. To systematically destroy this lie, you must perform the 24-hour audit. You cannot rely on your memory. Your memory is designed to protect your ego. For one single day, you will carry a notebook, and you will ruthlessly, clinically document every single minute of your existence. You will write down the 45 minutes you spent staring blankly at the ceiling after the alarm went off. You will log the 2 hours you bled away scrolling through a digital feed of people you do not even respect. You will document the 30 minutes you spent agonizing over an email that should have taken 3 minutes to write. You will track the time you spent complaining about your life instead of actually changing it. When you look at the raw, unforgiving data of the 24-hour audit, you will feel a profound, sickening sense of shame. You will realize that you are not starved for time, you are starved for discipline. You are not starved for opportunity, you are starved for focus. You have an absolute abundance of time, but you are spending it like a drunken fool on cheap digital dopamine and comfortable distractions. The audit strips away your alibi entirely. It forces you to stand naked before the mirror of your own daily choices and admit that your lack of progress is not a scheduling issue. It is a character issue. Once you face the raw, unforgiving data of your own wasted time, the illusion of later shatters completely. You realize that you have been actively choosing your own mediocrity. Every minute you spend avoiding the heavy lifting of your own existence is a minute you are aggressively voting for a lesser version of yourself. The 24-hour audit is not designed to punish you. It is designed to violently wake you up. It forces you to internalize the truth that time is not something you find. Time is something you allocate. And right now, you are allocating the most precious resource in the universe to things that absolutely do not matter. You must shift your entire psychological operating system to the absolute, uncompromising present. Marcus Aurelius commanded himself, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness." He did not say, "Concentrate on what you will do next year." He did not say, "Plan the perfect strategy for next month." He said, "Concentrate on what is in front of you right now." The present moment is the only territory where you possess any actual sovereignty. The past is a ghost that you cannot change, and the future is an absolute hallucination that you cannot control. The only place where the hammer meets the anvil, the only place where the brick is actually laid, is in the agonizing, beautiful, inescapable friction of the word now. Every single time you execute the protocol today, instead of pushing it to tomorrow, you are performing a micro-assassination of your own weakness. You are starving the ego of its favorite drug, procrastination, and you are feeding the heavy stone of the inner citadel. You are building an unshakable, undeniable track record of keeping the promises you make to yourself. When you finally stop bargaining with the ghost of tomorrow, a massive wave of psychological relief washes over your nervous system. The chronic anxiety of the undone task vanishes. The crushing weight of permanent preparation evaporates. You replace the miserable, low-grade stress of avoidance with the clean, exhausting, glorious pain of actual, undeniable effort. Imagine the absolute end of your life. Imagine lying on your deathbed, the biological clock finally, irreversibly running out. The Stoics used this visualization not to be morbid, but to be fiercely, violently alive in the present. In that final moment, the universe will introduce you to the person you could have become. If you spend your life living in the arrogance of tomorrow, that meeting will be an absolute, living hell. You will look at the sovereign mind, the empire of character, the physical strength, and the profound, uncompromising life that you could have built, and you will realize with sickening clarity that you traded it all for the cheap, pathetic comfort of later. You traded your greatness for the snooze button. You traded your legacy for the illusion that you had infinite time. You will die with the music still inside you, suffocated by your own delays. But if you execute the protocol of zero tomorrow inventory, if you put on the death lens every single morning and you do the heavy, necessary work today, that meeting at the end of your life will be completely different. It will not be a tragedy. It will be a reunion. You will look at the absolute highest version of yourself, and you will recognize them instantly, because you spent every single day of your finite existence actively becoming them. You will look at death and you will say, "I left absolutely nothing on the table. The warehouse is empty." Do not wait for the perfect conditions. Do not wait for the chaos to subside. The conditions are terrible, the friction is high, and the clock is aggressively ticking. This is exactly the environment where the sovereign mind thrives. Do the heavy work now. Have the difficult conversation now. Lift the iron now. Build the citadel now. If you are ready to stop begging tomorrow for a chance to live, if you are prepared to execute your duty with the ruthless, beautiful urgency of a mortal who knows their time is running out, subscribe to Core Wisdom. We do not wait for the future. we conquer the present. Walk with us.